Hey guys, tonight we travel back to Rome. Not the Rome of marble statues and eloquent senators, not the Rome of poets and philosophers, debating the nature of virtue under a gentle Mediterranean sun. No, we are going to the other Rome, the one that was built just as much on cruelty as it was on concrete. Tonight we travel to the Rome of blood, of sand, and of the roaring crowd. Forget the heroic myths. Forget the Hollywood epics with their champions fighting for freedom and glory. That is a comfortable lie, told centuries after the bones have turned to dust. Your story is different. You are not a hero choosing his destiny. You are property, a slave captured in a forgotten war, a prisoner condemned by a law you never understood. A man sold to a place where your only value lies in how well you can bleed, how gracefully you can die for the entertainment of others. Tonight, you are not visiting the Colosseum as a spectator. You are its next attraction. Tonight, you are entering the ludus, the Gladiator school. Before the iron gates lock behind you and the life you once knew becomes a distant memory, take a quiet moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you feel a genuine connection to these lost stories. It helps us keep these whispers from the silent past alive. And as you settle in, let me know in the comments, what's the loudest sound you have ever heard? A concert? A thunderstorm? The roar of an engine? Keep that sound in your mind. Hold on to it, because it will soon be replaced by the sound of 50,000 human beings roaring as one. A sound like the sea in a storm. And you will learn to fear it more than any blade. Now, dim the lights. Let the comforts of your world, the softness of your bed, the safety of your room, let it all fade away. Your new life of iron, of sweat, and of fear is about to begin. You were not born for this. No child of Rome, or of the lands Rome conquered, ever dreamed of a life on the sand. You were a farmer, perhaps, from a green and misty land to the north. A man whose world was the turning of the seasons, the feel of the soil, the weight of a harvest sack on your shoulder. Or you were a craftsman, a father, a son. You had a life, a name, a story. And then the legions came. Your village burned. Your family was scattered to the winds. And you, strong and defiant, were chained and marched for months under a sun you did not recognize, until all that was left of your old life was a faint, bitter memory. You are a prisoner of war, and your strength, the very thing that made you a good farmer or a proud warrior, has now made you a commodity. A promising piece of flesh for the arena. Or perhaps your path was different. Perhaps you were born a slave, your life the property of a wealthy master. But you had a spark of defiance in your eyes, a refusal to bow completely. You were too strong-willed, too difficult to manage. A slave who thinks is a dangerous slave. And so, your master, tired of your insolence, sold you. Not to a mine, not to a galley, but to a place where your aggression would be channeled, celebrated, and ultimately extinguished. He sold you to the lanista. Or maybe your crime was simple. You stole bread. You were in debt. You fell afoul of a powerful man, and you found yourself standing before a Roman magistrate, the cold, bored words of the law sealing your fate. You were condemned ad ludum, a sentence to the gladiator school. It is not a sentence of years, it is a sentence of death. A death to be served in installments for the entertainment of the masses. These are the common roads that lead to this place. Roads of conquest, of subjugation, of desperation. But there is another path, the strangest one of all. Perhaps you were a free man, a Roman citizen even. But your life has crumbled. You are crushed by debt. Your family facing ruin, your honor a thing of the past. And you see only one way out. one desperate, insane gamble for fame, for fortune, for a way to erase the shame of your failure, you can become an octoratus, a volunteer. You walk into the Lannister's office of your own free will. You sign a contract. But it is no ordinary contract. It is a terrifying oath, the sacramentum gladiatorium. You swear to be burned, chained, beaten, and killed by the sword. You are willingly, legally, surrendering your body and your freedom. You are trading your rights as a citizen for a chance to become a celebrated piece of meat. It is a choice born not of courage, but of a despair so profound that a life of brutal, theatrical servitude feels like a step up. Whichever road you walked, they all end here. You stand in the dust and heat of the cattle market, though today you are the cattle. You are stripped, your hands bound, standing on a raised platform alongside other men with the same hollow, terrified look in their eyes. The air is thick with the smell of sweat, fear, and unwashed bodies. And then you see him. The Lannister, the owner of the school. He is not an imposing warrior. He is a businessman. He moves with a calm, appraising air, his eyes cold and calculating. He is not looking for people. He is looking for promising investments. He stops in front of you. His inspection is thorough and deeply humiliating. He runs his rough hands over your shoulders, your arms, your legs, feeling the quality of your muscle. He orders you to open your mouth and he inspects your teeth, a healthy set of teeth being a sign of good overall health. He examines your scars, old battle wounds, the marks of a whip, reading your history in the raised, pale lines on your skin. He is not looking for perfection. He is looking for potential. Can you be molded? Can you be trained? And most importantly, will you put on a good show? Will the crowd love you or love to watch you die? He might have you swing a wooden sword to see your stance, your natural aggression. He watches you, not as a fighter, but as an entertainer. He is the director, and he is casting his next bloody play. He says nothing to you. He speaks only to the slave trader, a quiet negotiation of silver coins that represents the final sale of your life. A price is agreed upon. You are sold. You are led away in chains, leaving the market behind. The final stage of your transformation is about to begin. The erasure of the man you once were. You are brought to the school, the ludus, and there they take your name from you. Gnaeus, Marcus, Alistair, whoever you were, that person is dead. He died on the road, or in the courtroom, or in the moment you signed that terrible oath. Now you are given a new name, a single, simple name, a stage name, Crixus, Spartacus, Flammer. It is short, sharp, and easy for the crowd to chant. Your past is gone. Your story is over. You have no family, no home, no history. All you have is this new name and the brand of the school that is about to be seared into your flesh. You are no longer a person. You are a gladiator, a member of a familia gladiatoria, a brother in a family whose only business is death. You are marched through a heavy wooden gate, the sound of a thick iron bolt sliding shut behind you, echoing with a terrifying finality. This is your new home, the ludus, the school. But as you take your first look around, you realize it is not a school. It is a prison, designed with ruthless efficiency. High stone walls surround you, topped with sharpened stakes, blocking out the sky and any thought of the world you left behind. The windows of the barracks are not windows. They are narrow slits, barred with thick iron. Your first impression is one of enclosure, of being deliberately and completely cut off from the world. You are in a cage. The heart of the ludus is the central training yard, a wide expanse of packed earth and sand, dotted with wooden training posts. This is where your new life will be forged in sweat and pain. Around the yard are the barracks, the armory, the infirmary, and your new living quarters. You are led to a small stone cell. It is dark, damp, and contains nothing but a straw pallet on the floor. This is where you will be locked away at night, a solitary animal in a stone box. Before you are even shown to your cell, you are brought before the lanista again. But this time, it is not for an inspection. It is for an initiation. You and the other new arrivals, the Tyrones, are made to swear the oath, the Sacramentum Gladiatorium. You stand before your new master and you repeat the words. You pledge your absolute, unquestioning obedience. You swear to endure being burned, being chained, being beaten, and being killed by the sword. You are legally, ritually, handing over your body to him. It is his to train, his to punish, his to profit from, and his to destroy. There is no appeal, there is no mercy. You have willingly, or unwillingly, accepted your own death. The oath is a psychological shackle, binding you to your fate more securely than any iron chain. With the oath sworn, you are introduced to your new family, the Familia Gladiatoria. It is a family built on a foundation of brutal, rigid hierarchy. At the top is the lanista, the owner. He is your god. His word is absolute law. Below him are the doctores, the trainers. These are the men who will shape you. They are almost always retired gladiators, grizzled veterans who survived the arena long enough to earn their freedom, often at the cost of an eye, a hand, or a soul filled with scar tissue. They move with a stiff, pained grace, their bodies a roadmap of old wounds, and their eyes are cold and hard. They have seen hundreds of men like you come and go. They will not be your friends. They will be your tormentors. They will teach you how to fight, but more importantly, they will teach you how to perform. Then there are your brothers in arms, the other gladiators. You are a tiro, a novice, a rookie. You're at the very bottom of the ladder. The established fighters, the veterani, look at you with a mixture of pity and contempt. They have survived their first few fights. They have tasted the roar of the crowd. They know the rules of this strange, violent world. You are just fresh meat, another soul likely to be extinguished in your first appearance on the sand. They will not help you. They will not offer words of comfort. Friendship is a liability in a place where your brother might one day be your opponent. You exist in a state of constant surveillance. You are watched at all times. During training, during meals, even in your cell. The guards of the ludus are not there to protect you. They are there to control you, to prevent any thought of rebellion or escape. And escape is the ultimate crime. The lanista has invested a great deal of money in you. You are his property. And if you try to steal that property from him, the punishment is designed to be a lesson for everyone else. It is not a quick death. It is crucifixion, a slow, agonizing death displayed for all to see. Or, for a touch of theatrical irony, you might be thrown to the wild beasts in the arena unarmed. A special, unscheduled performance for the entertainment of the masses. So you learn the first and most important rule of the ludus. You do not resist. You obey. You train. You eat what you are given. You sleep when you are told. You accept the discipline, the beatings, the endless grinding routine. Because in this family, rebellion is not an option. Your only path to freedom is through the arena, and that path is paved with the blood of men who once stood exactly where you are standing now. After a long, brutal day of training in the yard, Your body is a single, screaming nerve of exhaustion. Your muscles burn, your joints ache, and the phantom sting of the trainer's whip still dances on your back. You are empty, you are hollow, and you are ravenously hungry. You are herded into the mess hall with the other gladiators. There are no grand feasts here, no roasted meats or overflowing goblets of wine. You do not eat the lean, protein-rich diet of a modern athlete, designed for speed and sculpted muscle. No, your diet is a science. But it is a strange, grim science, designed for a purpose you are only just beginning to understand. A wooden bowl is slammed down in front of you. It is filled with a thick, grey, lumpy porridge. This is your meal. It is the same meal you had yesterday, and the same meal you will have tomorrow. It is barley, boiled into a thick, heavy paste, perhaps with some beans mixed in for variety. This is the cornerstone of your existence, and it has earned you a new name. Not a name of glory, won on the sand, but a name whispered in the kitchens and the training yard. You and your brothers are the Hordearii, the barley men. You lift the wooden spoon to your mouth. The mush has no real taste. It is bland, starchy, and heavy. It is not food for pleasure. It is fuel for the slaughter. You eat it quickly, mechanically, because you must. But as you do, you can feel it. A strange, sluggish weight settling in your gut. This food does not make you feel light, or fast, or powerful. It makes you feel soft, padded. And that is exactly the point. This diet, this relentless regimen of carbohydrates, is the Lannister's secret weapon. He is not trying to turn you into a perfectly conditioned warrior. He is trying to turn you into a better spectacle. The barley and beans are designed to build a protective layer of subcutaneous fat all over your body. A soft cushion, just beneath the skin. This is the grim science of the arena. This layer of fat is a performance enhancer, but not for you. It's for the crowd. When you are in the arena, and your opponent's blade slices across your arm or your chest, this fatty layer will protect your muscles, your nerves, and your vital organs from shallow cuts. It allows you to be wounded, to bleed impressively, to put on a dramatic, blood-soaked show for the 50,000 screaming spectators, without dying immediately. Your master wants you to bleed. It's what the crowd pays to see. He just doesn't want you to bleed out too quickly. A fatal first strike is anticlimactic. It's bad for business. He needs you to endure, to suffer beautifully, to make your wounds look spectacular. You are not being fed for strength. You are being fattened, like a prize pig being readied for the feast. And this realization settles in your stomach with a coldness that no amount of hot barley can warm. Every meal is a reminder that your body is not your own. It is a canvas, and your master is preparing it to be painted with blood. So you eat your bland, heavy portion, day after day. The monotony of it is a form of psychological torture in itself. There is no joy in this food, no comfort. It is simply the cost of surviving until your next training session, your next fight. It is the taste of your own servitude.
When the meal is done and your bowl is empty, there is one final treat: your post-training sports drink.
A bucket is brought around, filled with a cloudy, greyish liquid. It is a concoction of water, sour vinegar, and ash from the fire. You are told it will help your bones heal, that it is rich in minerals your body needs to recover. You cup your hands and take a drink. The taste is indescribable. It is sour bitter and gritty with fine particles of ash that coat your tongue and teeth. It is a foul, medicinal brew that you must force down, the final insult of the meal. You drink it, and as the foul liquid hits your stomach, you can't help but think of it as a toast, a grim toast with a cup of ash and vinegar to another day survived in the family, another day as one of the barley men. The sun rises over the high walls of the ludus, its pale light illuminating the packed sand of the training yard. Your day begins, not with quiet reflection, but with the harsh, splintered feel of a wooden sword in your hand. Your training is not a pursuit of martial perfection. It is a grueling, repetitive, and often humiliating education in the art of performance. You are not learning how to win. You are learning how to put on a good show. Your first and most important teacher is not a man. It is a wooden stake, about 6 feet tall, driven firmly into the earth. This is the palus. It is your silent, unyielding opponent. For hours, under the watchful, merciless eye of your trainer, you will attack this stake. You will practice your strikes, high, low, thrusts, slashes, until your arm feels like a lead weight and your muscles scream in protest. You will practice your footwork, circling the palus, learning to maintain your balance, your guard, your distance. The palus does not tire. It does not bleed. It does not make mistakes. It is the perfect training partner because it demands of you a relentless mechanical perfection. It is mind-numbingly boring and utterly exhausting. But it is the foundation of everything you will learn. The rhythmic thwack of wood on wood becomes the soundtrack to your new life. And the sword you hold, the shield you carry, they feel impossibly heavy. That is by design. You train with a ludus, a wooden practice sword, and a heavy wicker shield. But they are deliberately crafted to be twice the weight of the real steel weapons you will use in the arena. The logic is simple and brutal. After months of training with these leaden instruments, the real sword, the real shield, will feel as light as a feather in your hands. You will feel fast, powerful, almost free. It is a small, calculated illusion of strength, granted to you just before you step onto the sand to die. Your human teachers are the doctores, the trainers. These are the broken, grizzled survivors of the arena. They are men who have felt the sand on their dying breath and somehow, impossibly, lived to tell the tale. They are missing eyes, fingers, sometimes entire limbs. Their faces are a roadmap of old scars, and they carry in their eyes a cold, hard emptiness that you are beginning to recognize in yourself. They do not teach you with words of encouragement. They teach you with the sting of a whip across your back when your guard drops. They teach you with a swift kick to the legs when your footwork is clumsy. They do not care about your pain. They do not care about your fear. They care about one thing only, turning you into a profitable asset for the lanista. And what they teach you is a revelation. You are not learning the swift, efficient, killing strokes of a soldier. A soldier's goal is to end a fight as quickly as possible. Your goal is the opposite. You are learning to prolong it. You are taught the flashy, theatrical moves that will thrill the crowd, the high, dramatic parry that sends your opponent's sword flying, the graceful, spinning dodge that looks impressive but serves little practical purpose. You are learning a choreography, a deadly dance. A quick, clean kill is a disaster. It is anticlimactic. It is boring. The crowd will boo. And a boring gladiator is a worthless gladiator. They paid to see a struggle. They paid to see blood, to see suffering, to see a near-death experience. Your job is to give them their money's worth. You practice not just how to fight, but how to die. This is, perhaps, the most important lesson of all. The doctores show you how to fall gracefully, how to accept the final blow with a stoicism that will earn the respect of the crowd. A gladiator who dies well, without screaming, without begging, without cowardice, can become a legend even in death. And a legendary death is good for the school's reputation. It's good for business. You train with your fellow novices, the Tyrones. But these are not friendly spars. They are controlled, but brutal. You pull your punches, you aim for the shield, but mistakes happen. A wooden sword can still break a bone, knock out teeth, and every spar is a performance, an audition for the lanista and the doctores. They are watching, evaluating, deciding your fate. Are you aggressive enough? Are you entertaining enough? Are you worth the investment? So you learn the strange, inverted logic of the arena. To survive, you must first learn how to die well. To win, you must first learn how to make the fight look like a struggle. You are not a warrior. You are an actor, and your stage is the sand. Your script is written in blood, and your final performance will be judged by 50,000 screaming critics. And there are no bad reviews. There is only the final curtain. After months of grueling, repetitive training, the day comes when your fate is decided. The lanista and the doctores have watched you. They have evaluated your strength, your speed, your aggression, and your theatrical potential. They are not choosing your weapon. They are casting you in a role you will play until you die. You are brought to the armory, a dark, cool room that smells of leather, oil, and old sweat. And it is here that you realize the arena is not a battlefield. It is a stage, and you are about to be handed your costume for a deadly, surreal play. You are not simply a gladiator. You are a character, a type. And the types are designed to be a spectacle of contrasts, a theatre of the bizarre. Perhaps they look at your large, powerful frame and decide you will be a Secutor, the pursuer. They hand you a heavy, oblong shield, a short sword, and then the helmet. You place it over your head, and the world is immediately transformed into a muffled, claustrophobic nightmare. The helmet is smooth, rounded, and almost featureless, designed to deflect the prongs of a trident. But the eye holes are tiny, two small circles that give you a terrifyingly narrow field of vision. You can only see what is directly in front of you. Your peripheral vision is gone. The sound of the world becomes a distant, echoing hum. You can hear your own breath, hot and ragged, trapped inside the metal shell with you. This is your new reality. You are a walking fortress, powerful and heavily armored, but you are also half blind and half deaf. And who will you be fighting? You will be fighting the Retiarius, the net fighter. He is your polar opposite. He wears almost no armor, just a loincloth and a metal guard on his shoulder. He is fast, nimble, almost naked, and his weapons are the tools of a fisherman, a weighted net, a long, sharp trident, and a small dagger. This is the classic pairing, the slow, lumbering, heavily armored beast versus the quick, vulnerable, agile hunter. It is a matchup designed for maximum dramatic tension. It is deliberately, beautifully unfair. You, as the Secutor, must constantly plod forward, trying to corner your opponent, your head encased in a sensory deprivation chamber. He, the Retiarius, must dance around you, staying just out of reach, looking for the perfect moment to cast his net. If he succeeds, you are entangled, helpless, a thrashing animal ready to be dispatched by his trident. If you succeed, and you manage to close the distance, your heavy shield and sword will make short work of his unprotected body. It is not a duel, it is a story, the story of the whale and the fisherman. And the crowd will roar for every near miss, every desperate dodge, every tangled net. But this is just one of the roles in the play. You look around the armory and see the other costumes. You see the helmet of the murmillo, with its strange, stylized fish crest, evoking a creature of the sea. He is often pitted against the Thraex, a fighter modelled on the warriors of Thrace, with his small, square shield and his distinctive, curved dagger, the Secutor, a wicked blade designed to stab around the edges of a shield. You see the armour of the Hoplomachus, a gladiator who looks like a Greek soldier from a bygone era, with his plumed helmet, round shield, and spear. He is a living piece of history, a nostalgic character for the crowd to cheer. Each class, each set of armour, is a different character in the Lannister's repertoire. And it is here, as you stand in your claustrophobic Secutor helmet, that the true psychological terror of your existence sinks in. You realize that your survival does not depend solely on your skill or your strength. It depends on the role you have been assigned. It depends on the narrative the Lannister wants to sell. The fights are deliberately, artistically unbalanced. They are rigged from the start, not for a specific outcome, but for maximum entertainment. You are a pawn in a game you cannot control. You have been cast in a role, and you must play it to perfection, even if that role is the man who is heroically, tragically slaughtered by the fisherman. Your armor is not just protection, it is your costume. It tells the crowd who you are supposed to be. The hero, the villain, the brute, the nimble underdog. They will cheer for you or against you based on the character you portray. The heavy plates of bronze, the ornate greaves, the menacing helmet, they are all part of the mask you must now wear. So you stand there, half blind and deafened by your own breathing, the immense weight of the shield pulling on your arm. You are no longer the man who was captured or the slave who was sold. You are the Secutor. You are the pursuer, and you will play your part, because in this theatre, the final act is real. You exist in a state of profound contradiction, a walking paradox that Roman society both creates and despises. In the eyes of the law, you are less than a man. You are infamis, infamous. It is a legal status, a brand seared onto your soul. It means you are legally dead. You cannot vote. You cannot own property. You cannot make a will or testify in court. You are stripped of all the rights and protections that define a Roman citizen, or even a respectable slave. You are grouped with the most reviled members of society, prostitutes, pimps, and disgraced actors. You are, in the cold, hard calculus of the law, the lowest of the low. A piece of disposable human refuse. Your master, the Lannister, can beat you, starve you, and sell your life for the price of a ticket. This is your legal reality. But then, you step out of the ludus, and a different reality asserts itself. One that is just as strange and just as dehumanizing. In the eyes of the public, you are a superstar. As you are marched through the streets on the day of the games, you see it. The faces in the crowd. They do not look at you with the contempt of a magistrate. They look at you with a strange mixture of awe, pity, and a morbid, feverish excitement. You are a celebrity. You see your stage name, the name that replaced the one your mother gave you, scratched as graffiti on the walls of public buildings. Crixus Victor, Flamma Pugnat, victories, statistics, praises. Little boys play with clay figurines made in your likeness, small, crude dolls of you and your opponents. Fans, known as amatores, follow your career with an obsessive passion. They know your fighting style, your number of wins, your most famous bouts. They gamble fortunes on your survival. They are your audience, your judges, and in a strange way, your owners, just as much as the Lannister is, and it goes deeper. The paradox of your existence becomes even more surreal. You are not just a sports hero, you are a sex symbol. This man who is legally dead, who sleeps in a stone cell, who eats a mush of barley and beans. This man is the object of fantasy for some of the wealthiest, most powerful women in Rome. They see in you something that their soft, perfumed, poetry-reciting husbands lack. They see raw, brutal, untamed masculinity. They see danger, and they desire it. It is not uncommon for a wealthy matron to pay your lanista an exorbitant sum for the privilege of spending a night with you in your cell. The lanista, ever the businessman, is happy to oblige. You are his property, and this is just another way for his property to earn him money. For these women, you are an exotic prize, a temporary walk on the wild side. For you, it is just another command to be obeyed, another layer of humiliation, another reminder that your body is not your own. It is a commodity to be used, in the arena or in the cell, for the pleasure and profit of others. The very sweat scraped from your skin after a training session is a valuable commodity. It is collected, mixed with oil, and sold in small, expensive vials in the market as an aphrodisiac. The women of Rome believe that the essence of your strength, your vitality, can be bottled and sold. They will dab it on their skin, believing it makes them irresistible. Your pain, your exhaustion, your very scent. It is all just another product for public consumption. This is the psychological whiplash of your life, the constant, dizzying shift between two irreconcilable realities. In the ludus, you are scum. You are nothing. You are beaten, disciplined, and treated like an animal. Your life has no value beyond your next performance. But in the streets, you are a god. You are adored. You are desired. You are the subject of poems and the object of fantasies. You are the lowest celebrity, a celebrated pariah, a disposable icon. This paradox would be enough to break a man's mind, to be treated as both less than human and more than human in the same day. How do you reconcile these two worlds? The answer is, you don't. You learn to live with the fracture. You learn to wear the mask of the stoic, brutal warrior for the crowd, and the mask of the obedient, broken slave for your masters. And deep down, in the silent, watchful corners of your soul, you hold on to the memory of the man you once were, the farmer, the craftsman, the son. The man who was neither a monster nor a god, but simply a human being. A man who is now, like your name, lost to the past. The night before the games is a strange and surreal ritual. It is the cena libera, the free feast. After months of bland, heavy barley, you are suddenly given a lavish meal. Roasted meats, wine, fruits, fine bread. It is the best food you have tasted since you lost your freedom. But it is not a gift. It is part of the show. The feast is open to the public. Spectators, your fans, your gamblers, they pay a fee to come and watch you eat. They stand just a few feet away, staring at you, commenting on your physique, your appetite, your apparent lack of fear. They are not seeing a man. They are seeing a prized animal being fattened up for the slaughter. They are looking at you as if you are already a ghost. You eat the rich food, you drink the good wine, and you try not to think about the fact that this is, for all intents and purposes, your last meal. You try to sleep that night in your cold, stone cell, but sleep does not come easily. You can hear the sounds of the city outside the high walls of the ludus, a city buzzing with anticipation for the morning spectacle, for your spectacle. And then the morning arrives, cold, grey, final. You are awakened before dawn. You are washed, oiled, and dressed, not in your training clothes, but in ornate, colourful robes. Purple, gold, crimson. You are being dressed like a sacrificial offering. And then you are led out into the city streets for the pompa, the grand procession. You are placed in a chariot, alongside the other gladiators who will be fighting today. The procession moves slowly through the streets of Rome, on its way to the Colosseum, and the crowds are immense. The entire city has turned out to see you. They line the streets, they hang from windows, they sit on rooftops, and they cheer. They throw flowers, they shout your name. You are forced to wave, to smile, to play the part of the heroic warrior, heading off to glorious battle. It is a grotesque parody of a military triumph. You are a slave, being paraded to your potential death, and they are celebrating it like a festival. The disconnect between their joy and your terror is a chasm so wide it threatens to swallow you whole. The procession finally reaches its destination, the Flavian Amphitheatre, the Colosseum. It is a man-made mountain of stone and marble, a monument to Roman power and Roman cruelty. And as you are led through the dark, echoing tunnels beneath the stands, you can hear it. It starts as a low, deep hum, a vibration that you feel in your bones. But as you get closer to the arena floor, it grows. It becomes a roar. The sound of 50,000 human beings, all focused on one thing, the promise of blood. You step out from the dark tunnel into the blinding light of the arena, and the sound hits you like a physical wave. It is the loudest thing you have ever heard, a deafening, inhuman roar that seems to shake the very foundations of the world. It is the sound you were warned about, and it is more terrifying than you could have ever imagined. The sensory overload is immediate and overwhelming. The blinding sunlight reflects off the clean white sand of the arena floor. The heat is already beginning to bake the air, and the smell is a complex and horrifying perfume. It is the sharp, metallic scent of old blood, a smell that has soaked so deeply into the sand that it can never be washed away. It is the smell of wild animals, their musky, feral scent rising from the cages beneath the floor. And it is the smell of 50,000 sweating, excited bodies packed into the stands above you. You and the other gladiators march in formation around the arena, a final parade for the masses. You stop before the Emperor's box, a raised, shaded platform where the most powerful man in the world sits, looking down at you with a bored, indifferent expression. You raise your right arm in a salute, and perhaps in a low, hollow voice, you and the others utter the famous, fatalistic phrase, Ave, Imperator, morituri te salutant. Hail, Emperor. Those who are about to die salute you. It is a moment of profound, chilling theatre. You are acknowledging your own mortality, your own disposability in the face of absolute power. And then, the moment is over. You are herded back towards the gates to await your turn, to await your name being called. You have seen the sand. You have heard the roar. You have made your salute to death. Now, all that is left is to perform. Your name is called. The gate creaks open, a sound that seems impossibly small beneath the thunderous roar of the crowd. You step forward, out of the cool, dark tunnel and back into the blinding, sun-drenched world of the arena. Your opponent is already there, on the other side of the sand, a faceless shape behind a metal helmet. You are no longer in the world of training, of wooden swords and pulled punches. This is real. The sand is real. The sun is real. And the death that hangs in the hot, still air is very, very real. The fight begins. And you immediately realize that this is not a lawless brawl. It is not a frenzied, chaotic struggle for survival. It is something far stranger. It is a match, a highly regulated, refereed match. Out on the sand with you are two officials, the Summa Rudis. They are dressed in white tunics, each holding a long staff, a ludus, which they use to enforce the rules. They are the arbiters of this deadly game. If your shield becomes entangled with your opponent's, they will step in and separate you. If a piece of your armor breaks, they can pause the fight. They are there to ensure that the combat adheres to the specific rules of your particular matchup, to ensure that the show is a good one. It is a bizarre, surreal layer of civilization laid over an act of pure barbarism. You are fighting for your life, but there are rules. You circle your opponent, the sound of the crowd a distant roaring sea. All your training, all those hours spent attacking the palus, now comes into focus. You move, you parry, you thrust, all in the theatrical, showy style you were taught. You are not just fighting, you are performing. You can feel the rhythm of the crowd, their gasps at a near miss, their roar of approval at a well-executed, flashy maneuver. You are feeding them. You are keeping them entertained. But your opponent is skilled, and you are human. You make a mistake, a moment of hesitation, a clumsy step, a misjudged parry, and the opening is there. His blade finds its mark. A searing, white-hot pain erupts in your leg. You stumble, your shield feeling impossibly heavy. You fall to one knee. The roar of the crowd intensifies. They can smell blood. They can sense the end of the story. Your opponent stands over you, his sword ready for the final blow. And now you must perform the last, most important act you were taught in the ludus, the act of surrender. This is not cowardice. It is protocol. It is your only chance. With a final desperate effort, you drop your shield onto the sand. It lands with a soft, dull thud. And then you raise your left hand, your index finger extended. It is a gesture of profound, absolute submission. It is a plea for mercy. It says, I am beaten. I can no longer fight. My fate is no longer in my own hands. A strange, expectant hush falls over the arena. The roar of the crowd softens to a low, humming murmur. 50,000 pairs of eyes are now fixed on you. A broken, bleeding figure on the sand. The referee, the summer rudies, steps forward and holds your opponent back. The fight is over, but your fate is not yet decided. The editor of the games, the man who paid for this spectacle, looks not to the emperor, not to the fighters, but to the crowd. They are the ultimate judge, and now they will vote. This is the moment of police verso, literally, with a turned thumb. It is the legendary gesture that will decide your life or your death. They begin to shout, to wave their handkerchiefs, to signal their desire. Some, perhaps impressed by your courage, by the good show you put on, will call for missio, mercy. They will hide their thumbs in their fists, a gesture of a sheathed sword. But others are not so merciful. They have paid to see death, and they will gesture for it. The famous thumbs down, a signal for the final fatal stroke. You lie there, the hot sand sticking to the blood on your leg, and you look up at the vast, terrifying sea of faces. They are a single, monstrous entity, a 50,000-headed beast, and it is about to decide whether you will draw another breath. Let's say, today, you are lucky, you fought well, you were brave, the crowd is pleased, the gesture is for missio, mercy. Your opponent lowers his sword. The referee helps you to your feet. You are allowed to limp out of the arena, a survivor. A wave of dizzying, disbelieving relief washes over you. You have lived. But what have you won? You have not won your freedom. You have not won a fortune. You have won a temporary reprieve. You are led back to the ludus, to the infirmary. where your wounds will be stitched and treated by the school's doctors, and then you will begin the cycle all over again. You will train, you will eat your barley, and you will wait for the next games, for the next time your name is called. You have survived today, but you know, with a cold, hard certainty that settles deep in your bones, that your luck is a finite resource. It will eventually run out, and one day you will be back on that sand, looking up at the crowd and the thumbs. The thumbs will point down, and so the gates of the ludus close for the last time. You can let go of the sand now. Let the memory of the roaring crowd fade into a distant hum. Feel the weight of the helmet lift from your head, the heavy practice sword fall from your hand. You have survived. You have walked the road of the dispossessed, sold like an animal in the marketplace, stripped of your name and your past. You have entered the cold, stone reality of the Gladiator school, a prison where your life was measured in its potential for profit. You have lived the life of a barley man, your body deliberately fattened for a more spectacular, bloodier performance. You have learned the surreal, deadly dance of the arena, a place where you were not a warrior, but an actor cast in a play of life and death. You have felt the claustrophobic embrace of the Secutor's helmet, and you have faced the fisherman's net. You have lived the bizarre paradox of being the lowest celebrity, legally dead, yet socially adored, a disposable icon whose sweat was bottled and sold like a love potion. You have stood in the blinding light of the Colosseum, made your salute to the emperor, and placed your life in the hands of 50,000 strangers. You have felt the collective gaze of the crowd, the true and final judge, as they turned their thumbs to grant you one more day, or to extinguish your life for their afternoon's entertainment. You have walked through a world that is almost impossible to comprehend. A world of such casual, institutionalized brutality, and yet one of rules, of honor, of a strange and terrible beauty. But here is the final thought to carry with you, into the quiet of your own world. The gladiator was the ultimate performer, in a society that blurred the line between sport and human sacrifice. The arena was not just a stadium, it was a temple, a court, and a stage, all at once. And the spectacle it hosted forces us to ask a question that echoes through the centuries. How much has really changed? We no longer have the Colosseum, or the sand, or the tridents, but our fascination with spectacle, with conflict, with watching human beings pushed to their absolute limits for our entertainment, has that truly gone away? We are still a crowd. We still roar for victory and gasp at defeat. We still build our heroes up, and we still, in our own way, consume their pain. The world of the gladiator feels distant, barbaric, alien. But the impulse that built it, the hunger for a good show, is uncomfortably familiar. And that is why your journey tonight matters. Because you are not on the sand. Your survival is not a performance. Your life or death is not a vote, cast by a fickle and bloodthirsty crowd. You are in your own room, in your own bed, safe and free. It is a freedom that the man you just were, the farmer, the soldier, the slave, could not have even dreamed of. It is a gift, bought with the suffering of countless souls just like him. So as you drift off to sleep tonight, in the quiet and in the peace, perhaps hold on to that feeling, the simple, profound, and miraculous gift of a life that does not have to be a spectacle, a life that is simply your own. Sleep well.